Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this Thursday's Facebook training. I'm not live because I have company, so I've pre-recorded today's lesson, today's training. Now, I want to thank everyone for showing up. I really appreciate your coming in and checking in and watching the videos, because these are little tidbits that you could use throughout your day in your life. And um, I'd love some feedback. So if you have questions, put them in. You can send them in my DMs or put them into the community, because the questions that you have, you're not alone. A lot of the times I get the same questions over and over again. So I want you to be aware that you're not alone. Okay. So today we're talking about pushback. Now, I know we talked about it last week, but I want to flip the switch a little bit. We talked about what happens when someone gets angry or disappointed or goes quiet and tells you that you've changed. Yes. But what about when that doesn't happen? What if you finally say no to a request and they respond with, hey, that's okay? Or even, I'm actually glad you finally stood up for yourself. Oh, because I think there's something really important here for women who have spent years people pleasing. I know that happened to me. I was like crazy. Anytime somebody said, hey, do you have a minute? Yeah, what do you need? And I stopped what I was doing and helped. Or if somebody said, hey, I've got this project I need some support with. Sure, how can I help? And at one point I said, you know what? I can't. I'm so overwhelmed that I just can't do it. And it was, hey, no problem. I get it. Sometimes we're so prepared for someone to be upset with us that we don't even consider the possibility that they might support us. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. We fear their reaction. And if you've spent a lot of time managing other people's emotions, you can start making decisions based on a reaction that hasn't even happened yet. You think, oh, they're going to be so disappointed, or they're going to think I'm selfish. They'll be angry with me. They're going to think I've changed. I've been being uncooperative. So you say yes before you even have the opportunity to really check in with yourself. And this is one of the ways self-abandonment can become almost automatic. You aren't necessarily responding to what someone else has said. You're responding to what you imagine they might say. And that's very different. So imagine this. You finally say, no, I can't do that. And you're waiting. You're almost holding your breath. And instead they say, oh, okay. Or that's completely fine. Or I'm glad you told me. Honestly, I'm happy you're doing that. You need to take time for yourself too. And you're thinking, oh, that's not what I expected. Because you were expecting conflict. You were expecting pushback. And there wasn't any of that. I wish you had told me sooner. And this can be a really powerful moment, because sometimes the people around us aren't refusing to respect our boundaries. They've actually never been given the information. We've never shared that with them. And they need to know and understand our limits. This is one of the reasons why boundaries aren't just about saying no. They're about letting people know the truth about you. what you need, what you can handle, and what you can't. And sometimes when you finally start communicating that honesty, you discover that the person you were afraid would be disappointed is actually saying, "Oh, I wish you'd told me. Of course, I understand that." And this is where I want you to notice something. Sometimes the biggest shift isn't in the other person's response. It's in your realization that you are allowed to tell the truth all along. You don't have to earn permission to have a need. You don't have to make someone understand before your boundary becomes valid. You didn't have to sacrifice yourself to protect a relationship. You simply told the truth, and your relationship handled it. Now, I'm not saying everyone is going to respond this way, because they're not. Some people will still push back, and some people will need time to adjust. And sometimes their response gives you important information about that relationship. But there are also people in your life who genuinely love you. And they may not want the exhausted, overextended version of you. They may prefer the honest version. The version that says, "No, I don't want to do that. No, I can't. That doesn't work for me. I need some time." Because now they know where you stand. They don't have to guess. And you don't have to silently resent them because you said yes when you meant no. That's what healthy boundaries can create. Not distance, more honesty. Now, here's the question I want you to take away today. Are you afraid of someone's actual response? Or are you afraid of the response that you imagined? Because those are not the same thing. And if you're always predicting disappointment, anger, rejection, or conflict, you may never give the people around you the opportunity to show you that they can handle the real you. Sometimes you need to let someone respond before you decide what their response will be. And sometimes they will surprise you. So let's quickly bring this down to 3 things I want you to remember. Number 1, don't respond to an imaginary reaction. You don't know how someone will respond until you give them the opportunity to respond. Number 2, their ability to handle your boundary is information. If they support you, that's information. If they need time to adjust, that's information. And if they repeatedly punish you for having needs, that's information too. You don't have to decide what it means immediately, just notice. Number 3, let yourself experience being supported. This one thing is important. If someone responds positively to your boundary, don't immediately look for a catch. Don't minimize it. Don't say, "Well, they probably didn't really mean that." Let yourself receive it. Let yourself learn that I can choose myself and still be loved. So here's what I'd love you to do this week. Choose one small boundary. Nothing dramatic. Something you've been saying yes to automatically. And this time, tell the truth. Then don't predict the response. Don't over-explain. Don't apologize for having a need. Just notice what happens. And I want you to report back. Come back to this live or send me a message and tell me, what boundary did you hold and how did they respond? And if they surprised you with support, I especially want to hear that. Because I think sometimes we need to collect evidence that choosing ourselves doesn't automatically mean losing connection with the other person. And that's what I want you to remember today. You don't have to abandon yourself to keep a relationship. You don't have to assume that choosing yourself will cost you the relationship either. Sometimes the people we love and who love us are waiting for us to stop saying yes when we mean no. So this week, give them and yourself the opportunity to find out. Hold the boundary. Notice the response and report back. And I will see you the next time.